Good morning, my name is Chris Ocker. I'm the safety manager at the Springfield Assembly Plant. Today we're going to discuss our general safety rules that will pertain to safety contractors. First thing we're going to talk about is our safety policy. Springfield Operations believes that we can prevent all injuries, and we're committed to maintaining the high standards of safety for everyone who enters our facilities. When we discuss injuries, we're looking at recordable or lost time injuries. We have many first aids, and we do implement many corrective actions so those first aids do not become recordable injuries. One of the things that we need to understand that is not just the safety department's responsibility to cover safety for the entire facility. It is everyone's responsibility, from the managers down to the employees on the line. Everyone has accountability for each other's safety. We have divided our rules into two basic categories. One is the life-saving rules, the other one is the basic safety guidelines. Life-saving rules are ones that we have identified that could cause the most severe injuries, including fatalities. Life-saving rules include lockout tagout procedures, confined space procedures, fall protection procedures, and falsifying safety or environmental records or disabling safety or protection devices. For contractors coming into the plant, lockout tagouts, the minimum OSHA requirements must be followed. For our rules, any contractor coming on site, their lock must be a blue safety lock. It must also include a tag that identifies the person that is using the lock. Fall protection, all employees must use their harnesses and lanyards. If anybody is in an aerial lift or a scissor lift, they must wear the lanyard and harness at all times. All safety or environmental records needed must be able to be seen each time a personnel is walking into the area. So all forklifts, aerial lifts, any type of mobile equipment to be used must have a daily inspection. Life-saving rules, if not followed, will be disciplined. Discipline will be up to and including discharge from the facility. Basic safety guidelines, the first part of our basic safety guidelines include PPE usage. Anyone entering the facility must wear safety glasses with side shields and steel-toed shoes. PPE must be worn at all times on the production floor once you cross designated blue lines. For contractors coming into the facility, basic PPE plus additional PPE will be required. That will be determined by the lead contractor. Safety glasses must be untinted with side shields unless it's required for the job. So depending on what you will be doing, will require if you need the tinted lenses. Safety shoes must meet all requirements, ASTM requirements for the facility. It can be leather in nature or it may have decorative mesh. Hearing protection is required in certain departments in our facility. Departments 51, 52, and 53 are all hearing protection required departments. If you need to go into those areas, there are hearing protection available. We will also do some noise monitoring in the construction zones to identify if hearing protection is needed. Some activities that you cannot do or have on site include concealed carry. If you have a concealed carry permit, you cannot bring weapons onto the site. Once you cross the line at any of the entrances onto the parking lots, that is where the concealed carry ends. You cannot have guns, bows. You can have small pocket knives, but anything over 5 inches must be left at home. Smoking is not allowed inside the facility. There are certain gates that you can go to smoke outside. We ask that anybody smoking stays at least 25 feet away from the doors so the smoke does not carry back into the facility. You cannot use headphones or iPods while you're working. Due to the noise already in the factory, it just increases the safety risk for employees wearing that. Cell phones cannot be used while working, walking, or driving. If you need to take a call, please stand to the side, take the call, and then proceed with what you're doing. Horseplay is not acceptable at this facility. We have had many injuries due to horseplay, and in a construction zone, the hazards are even higher. With vehicles and traffic, vehicles and pedestrians must wait when aisleways are temporarily indicated by flashing lights and audible alarms. If you're crossing a gangway and the siren starts to go off, please stop and wait till it subsides, then cross and go where you need to go. We do have designated walkways outside the facility that will get you to each of our buildings. If you must go out there and you're outside of the walkways, a safety vest must be worn. Vest must be worn at all times in 55 and the south lot. The vest must be a high-vis class 2 vest or a high-vis class 2 shirt, t-shirt, whatever is available. Vehicles do have the right-of-way, but it is a responsibility of both the driver of the vehicle and the pedestrian to make eye contact when walking into intersections. Assume that employees will be walking into the areas, and everyone needs to pay attention. At the end of the line, the truck coming off has the right-of-way. Parking lot in the facility is inside the building is 5 miles an hour, outside is 10 miles an hour in the parking lots. Any equipment being brought into the facility must be governed down to 5 miles per hour or less. Also, anyone driving any mobile equipment in the facility must be licensed to operate the equipment. Forklifts must have their seatbelts in use when operating. When you're riding on carts, forklifts, or any other mobile equipment, you can only carry the amount of passengers that the vehicle is designed for. All forklift mobile equipment operators must be trained, and the training records must be provided to the safety department as well as copies of the license. If you are injured while working on site, you must contact your supervisor immediately so that you can report. The supervisor will then contact the appropriate personnel. During our morning meetings at 8 a.m., the injury will be discussed and followed up with an appropriate incident investigation. If you do experience an emergency at the facility, you can reach the emergency response team by contacting 4911 on a landline, or if you have a cell phone, dialing 937-390-4911. It's very important that you give them your name, location, and what the emergency is. We have first responders on all 3 shifts. This will, as soon as you initiate the call, it will send out a page to all responders who will respond to the area. The more information they know about your emergency, the better off they will be to handle it. Things that you would call the emergency number for: if a person is experiencing uncontrolled active bleeding, if they've been hit in the head, struck by any heavy object, if they have any obvious deformities, if they're experiencing chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness, or lightheadedness, please activate the emergency response. We do not want to put individuals on carts or let them walk to the medical department on site with this type of injury, so that they do not occur any more incidents. With different type of emergencies, such as fires, tornadoes, we do have signal alarms that will identify what the emergency is. In all cases, if a fire alarm, a tornado alarm sounds, everyone must evacuate to the designated shelter areas. It is a responsibility of the supervisor to take accountability to check their personnel and identify who is missing from their muster area and report it to management so that we are able to go out and find the person. Emergency alarm sounds for a fire. The signal will be 3 short horn blasts that are repeated. For a tornado, it is 1 minute long solid blast with pause that is repeated 3 times. Once the issue has been taken care of, once the emergency is passed, an all clear will be sent out for everyone. The blast will be a long blast, then a pause, and a blast again, which will be repeated 10 times. This map identifies where the muster and shelter areas are located throughout the facility. Lead contractor will identify to all contractors where to muster for a fire emergency and a tornado emergency. We do have emergency equipment located throughout the facility. All columns painted red have some type of emergency equipment, whether it is fire extinguisher, fire hoses, alarms, emergency eye wash or shower stations. We ask that only trained personnel use this type of equipment. We do have automatic external defibrillators or AEDs located throughout the facility. If you are in need of use of this AED, grab it from the box and take it to the area that is needed. The AED activates the emergency number, which will send first responders to your site. The AED can be operated by anybody. It will walk you through the steps needed. It will not let you shock anybody that is not needing the shock. We ask that once the first responders arrive on site, that you let them take over. With liquid spills, if you identify a spill or create a spill, it is your responsibility to clean it up. If you have a spill over 5 gallons, you need to contact your supervisor and a member of management so that it can be cleaned up. If it is a large spill and you need help, contact 4911. Loss prevention will come out and they will either dictate how you clean it up or we will get the appropriate people in to clean up the spill. Miscellaneous general requirements include making sure that clothing jewelry is secured if you're working around rotating equipment. Also, all hair must be secured above shoulder length when you're entering into production areas. Once you cross the blue lines, your hair must be secured. Anyone entering the facility must wear customary safe clothing and maintain a business-like appearance. If your need takes you to the cast facility, you cannot wear shorts or sleeveless shirts due to the cut hazards and burn factors in the facility. Make sure that no employee is walking across any pit. The contractors, if there is a pit in the area, it must be secured with a minimum of snow fencing to keep employees from accidentally walking into the area. Extension cords are temporary use only, and they need to meet the requirements for the working conditions that you're in. If needed, using a GFCI. Make sure that no one is walking under suspended loads. Hoist slings have to be secured by setting on an appropriate rated device on the floor during breaks and non-production hours. Make sure that no one was working directly underneath the suspended load or driving underneath the suspended